Hello, it's Robin. In this very special episode of Tabletop Gold, you're going to hear us talking about leveling up to level 4. See, it's very special. One thing we neglect to mention in this conversation you're going to hear right now is that all of our character sheets are available in the Character Sheets channel on the Tabletop Gold Discord. Just head on over to www.tabletopgold.com, follow the link to our Discord server, and then feast your eyes upon the glory of Level 4 Trilphus Huddlelob. In addition to the character sheets, we've got a great community on our Discord server anyway, so it's a lovely place to meet up with other folks and talk about the show, your pets, what you've cooked this week, wrestling, regardless of your enthusiasm for character sheets. Okay, I'll shut up so you can enjoy what we're all really here for, the theme song. On to episode 53.
In a quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Friends, and welcome to Tabletop Gold. This is episode 53 that you are listening to right now, and I am Lars Casteen. There was once a rap song by a rapper named Eminem, and he said the phrase, "My name is," and then he said his name after that phrase. And every week I'm tempted to shout out Marshall Mathers himself by saying, "My name is Lars Casteen," as a sort of like a wink and a nod, a reference to the rapper himself.
But will the kids get it?
The kids probably wouldn't get it. And that's great that you're asking. Robin Lange, thank you for asking that question.
Hello. That's
Hello.
me.
That's you. I was watching, you know what? I'm going to get through everybody else, then I'm going to tell this story. Armet Humphreys is here.
Good evening, y'all.
David the Tin Man Chernicoff is here.
Can I have the attention of the class for 1
See,
second?
that's what I'm talking about. You're channeling him. And Zoe Chernicoff is here as well.
Hola.
Hola. Okay, so the thing I wanted to say as in reaction to Robin's, I think the kids know about Eminem? I was watching on Netflix the other day a documentary called something. I don't know what this thing was called, but it's a documentary about Abercrombie and Fitch, tracking the rise and fall of the turn of the millennium clothing and apparel brand Abercrombie and Fitch.
New kids on the block had a bunch of
I've been meaning to watch that. I do love those documentaries.
There is a part at the beginning of this documentary where they have all of these talking heads that they've arranged for this thing, giving you context, being like, this is what the Abercrombie and Fitch catalog was like. This was who was wearing it. This is who was in the catalog. And about 5 minutes into this thing, they slow down to explain to the audience what a shopping mall is.
Oh my God.
And they say, it's like the internet. You can go shopping there, but it's in a building.
Oh, I feel so old.
I felt my bones starting to decompose as this documentary slowed down to try to make sure the entire audience was on board with that fact. Isn't that horrible? Do you feel? Am I crazy?
It hurts so much. It hurts.
That's
I worked in a mall after college. I worked at an H&M in a mall. A mall where the Easter Bunny got knifed.
Oh, no.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. True story.
The true crime enthusiast in me desperately wants to ask more.
Here's the thing:
Yeah.
if the Easter Bunny breaks into the mall to put eggs on a day other than Easter, it's criminal trespass. Like, things are gonna happen.
It's true.
Yeah.
I was literally in a mall 3 nights ago here in New York City. There is a mall in New York City, Brookfield Center or Brookfield Place. That is a mall.
You know, I was in a mall earlier. It's occurring to me that was the internet. I'm sorry. You know, you could design a heck of a tabletop RPG, sort of a dungeon crawl style thing, but you're just going through a shopping mall. Like, you're opening up. You're like, what's this? Oh, it's a Yankee Candle.
Run,
Yeah.
get out.
Exactly. Just slam the door behind you before the whatever aroma of enlightenment, fells
That sounds
you.
great.
However, I would like to point out, guys, that Parker Brothers did it with Mall Madness.
Mall
Come
Madness.
on.
That
Mall
is
Madness.
true.
It's the game board looks like a shopping mall, and the first thing you do is you decide, like, okay, am I an elf? Am I a dwarf?
Exactly.
And then you get your
Yeah.
credit card.
That classic 1-2 progression.
We're getting close enough to talking about our game that we may as well just go all the way and start doing that. I want to thank everybody who has taken the time to leave a review for our show at their podcast app of choice. Typically, I have a new review to mention here, but we've plumb run out of them. So, listener, this frankly is your fault that you're not hearing your own review listed here.
Another installment in Lars's classic hostile request for review. They always start out so earnest, and then like a 1 out of every 8 takes a turn.
Throw your phone into the sea. You're never living that down. You're never living that one down, Lars.
Yeah, people were really hurt by that.
Really?
Or we're tickled by it, and we can't forget it because it was so charming.
Oh, well, thanks. Okay, well, with all that said, let's do it. Let's play our game. We are not going to jump straight into the recap right now, though, folks, because if you remember from last week's episode, we ended off with everybody hitting level 4, all characters hitting level 4. But I just want to go around the table and see if anybody has anything that they want to share with the audience that they got on level up. Let's start with Robin. Robin, Trill, level 4. What are we talking about? What are we looking at?
I'm super excited about the class feat that I took.
I'm excited too, to be honest. I think that this is like a big deal for the group that you have this.
Yeah. So as a bard, bards have muses. And Trill's muse is a maestro. She follows the maestro, and that's what's allowed her to have lingering composition. And that's been really helpful. But I decided that through Trill's studies and trying to find her peace with her magic through her music, she also wanted to expand her world. And so I took the multifarious muse feat and went for polymath.
Which is one of the other muses that bards can choose
so
from.
that's another muse. Let me for a moment just open this up for a second.
Oh, cracking open the core rulebook. Showing off.
Yeah, I gotta always have this. Gotta always have this nearby. For the polymath, you are interested in a wide array of topics, but rarely dedicated to any one, and you rarely make up your mind. You want to try everything. You gain the versatile performance feat. So versatile performance is really all I wanted, because versatile performance is bloody fantastic. You rely on your grandeur of your performance rather than ordinary social skills. You can use performance instead of diplomacy to make an impression, and instead of intimidation to demoralize. And Trill is all about that performance. So using performance instead of diplomacy for make an impression, instead of intimidation to demoralize. Holy hell, this is a game changer.
Yes, this is a huge deal. The fact that like Trill is now able to play music that can frighten people is so positive in my mind, like for what this group is able to do. I think it is a huge upgrade. I'm very
So
excited to see
good.
this come out in the game.
And because I got to do that for my skill feat, I also got to take Terrifying Resistance. And Terrifying Resistance means that whenever Trill demoralizes someone, their spells are less effective on her. So if she
Cool.
succeeds in demoralizing a creature for the next 24 hours, she gains a +1 circumstance bonus to saving throws against that creature's spells. So it's just a little bonus.
Little bonuses matter a ton in this game, though. I think that is a
They really do.
yes.
And then Trill got another spell. I'm not going to say what the spell is. And then I also flipped up a first level spell. I retrained another spell. I'm going to leave her spells, though, a little mysterious.
I love it.
Ooh.
Yeah, but so listener, you'll get to hear some new spells coming up from Trill.
Well, thank you, Robin. Who else wants to talk about the various choices they've made for level 4?
Yeah, I took I found myself a little challenged actually at this level because the champion options are a little underwhelming to me, to be honest. So anyway, I ended up taking Mercy, which allows me to remove paralyzed or fear effects with my Lay on Hands, and Ward Medic, which allows me, mostly will rely on Lay on Hands, but it allows me to treat wounds on everyone at once. So
Woohoo!
Oh.
You did not expect to become the healer, did you?
yeah, no.
Got it.
To be honest, though, I don't know that my issue is playing a healer. I just don't. Lars, you can also feel free to cut this if you think it's not. I just am not vibing with the champion class, to be honest.
Interesting.
I totally respect your position. I'm gonna say something that I haven't said before in this podcast. I've never played this game. I have only ever run it. I have basically no idea what it's like to like actually be a player in this game. So like anything that I can say about like the way the champion class is put together is sort of like beside the point. But I do feel like the way that champion works, it's like you have just a couple of gimmicks, right? Like you've got your ally, you've got your lay on hands, you've got your champion's reaction. And then basically like most of the feats are about boosting one of those three things or maybe giving you an aura. So they don't really give you more options. They just make the things that you're doing already have slightly different effects. Does that ring
right?
true
It's
for you?
all sort of passive bonuses, which it's great. And if you're looking for like, I don't know, I love role playing Vadim. Don't get me wrong. I just
You're so good at it.
oh stop,
Oh, stop.
oh stop.
Go on.
I will say, though, that I don't think your issues are limited to the champion class. You took this dual weapon warrior dedication, which has cool stuff in it, but not at level 4. Like the
Right.
level 4
Yeah,
stuff
that
is
is
not
true.
great. So you have opened the horizons for the champion class to try to get access to more options, and you're getting kind of like, it's frustrating that neither one of the two doors that you opened is giving you what you want right now.
Well, I did some goofy stuff. Like I originally was going to take the level 4 dual weapon warrior dual thrower, because at level 3, one of the things that the blade ally can replicate is a rune of returning. And so I was thinking then Vadim could use 2 daggers and just be like throwing daggers at 10 feet and glimpsing with
cool.
double slice constantly.
Oh, that's fun.
That's
But-
dope.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds fun, but I think...
Sure, it sounds fun to throw 2 knives at a guy.
Right. You think it's going to be cool.
And have them instantly boomerang back into your palms.
But mechanically, the way it sort of ends up working action economy wise, and because I took the dueling sword unconventional weaponry feat, I feel like it's not necessarily as clean a fit.
Yeah,
at
and you're
this
usually
level.
there setting up the flank or something like that. I feel
Totally,
like
yeah,
being at throwing range isn't exactly what you're doing.
exactly. So very cool for another character. If someone is playing that, tell me about it on the Discord, because I'm gonna go ooh and ah about it. But yeah, anyway, so that's Vadim at level 4.
All right. Let's move on to who wants to go next, David or Zoe?
I do. I want to go
Zoe,
next.
go next.
I think I get one more thing than everyone else. I get a skill boost in addition to a skill feat.
Yes, because you are a rogue.
I'm burbling, first of all, literal burbling in my throat. But beyond that, I am upping stealth because that's a common initiative roll for me when I can con Lars into it or have actually hidden one of those two things. I then get, for my class feat, I am doing, sorcerer archetype, so I can finally get a fucking spell.
Ooh.
Yes.
We've had this kind of magic kitsune human dude with no spells, but now I get one at level 1. That'll be nice for level 4.
Basic sorcerer spell casting.
That's
what you
right.
got.
It's not going to be so basic though, listener. Hang in there.
It's gonna be complicated and strange.
Nothing's
So-
basic with
strange.
Norman.
As with all things Norman,
I was going to say,
complicated and
on
strange.
brand.
And then for my skill feat, I have taken no cause for alarm, which will let me, if y'all are frightened, I can make you all immune to being frightened for an hour. I have to be within 10 feet, so we'll see if this is ever useful, but that's the skill feat gamble.
It sure is. And part of what we liked about this, or part of what you liked about this, was the name. Like, no cause for alarm is just such a flavorful name for a feat, right?
Well, and I like that there's you can use this benevolently, right? You can be like, hey guys, it's okay, like we can get through this. Or you can kind of be manipulative and weird, which, let's be honest, Norman's done before. I hate to, open old wounds, but you could sort of soothe people into being not afraid when they maybe in their right mind should be.
Yeah, probably
So
should
I
be.
sort of like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, David. What did you pick up for Mag?
Yes, so Mag's new skill feat is Underwater Marauder.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that is fun.
Which means she is now more adept at fighting underwater. So, which I think story-wise is she's been reflecting on the River Drake and that experience and kind of replaying it in her mind. And for the new class feat, I have taken Swipe.
Nice.
So Swipe is a 2-action action. You make a single melee strike, and you can use that same attack roll against 2 adversaries as long as they're both in melee reach and adjacent to one another. And there's no multiple attack penalty.
Nice.
There's a note here. So if you're using a weapon with the sweep trait, its modifier applies to all of your swipe attacks.
Yeah. So if you get more runes on that flail, you can just have a +1 to hit always with that flail, as long as you're hitting multiple dudes.
Lars, I can
Interesting.
hear the excitement in your voice.
I don't know. Like, I'm in such a conflicted place with this because I not to pull back the curtain too much. Like, my hope is that you guys are challenged and that stuff is scary and difficult. But I also want you guys to do cool stuff because I have such a good time seeing you guys doing cool stuff. So when you take things that make cool things happen, I'm excited. So there are a number of picks that people took this time through that I think are going to actually have a substantial impact on what it is that we do on the show, which is the thing I care most about. Like, the thing I'm most excited about is having you guys overcome unfair fights like the one that you're about to get into with cool options. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I look forward to cleaving 2 of your monsters into 4 pieces.
Very
in the
good.
future.
Let's get into our game, shall we? Let's actually
Can
play.
I just
Yes,
first
please.
say thank you for having such a lame level up boss that we were able to level up to
Yeah.
level 4
Hey.
easily?
Yeah.
What are you
so
talking
lame.
about? Okay, for what it's worth, that boss was not lame.
Wow.
Norman didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I just sat
Neither
there.
did Vadim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just
sat
all
there.
Trill and Mag.
I let level 4 wash over me.
Your search for information about the arcane mechanism that blasted Otari's graveyard with negative magic has brought you to an abandoned scriptorium, a workshop where, long ago, scribes copied books by hand. It's here that you've encountered the tortured spirit of Chandriu Invizar, the scriptorium's director. In talking with her, you've gotten a first-hand taste of her abusive management style, but also of her eternal love for Volek Azrene, the brilliant and beautiful designer of Gauntlight's destructive lens. Now, your attempt to free this ghost by convincing her that her affections for Volek will never be returned has had two effects. First, she appears to be so overwhelmed by grief that she is unable to focus on attacking you. And second, she's attacking you. So the last thing that happened was Norman convinced her that Volek was seeing somebody else. She looked like she had the energy being sapped from her, but she also turned to you aggressively to attack. And I think that means that it is just as good a time as any for us to please roll for initiative. Yeah. Roll for initiative.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can I roll with stealth just because I've upped it and it would be advantageous to me to do so?
Instead of deception, which is clearly what you were doing and is the obvious correct thing that should be happening
That's
right now,
right.
you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You do present a compelling argument.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Okay. Well, I thought I'd check.
Could I roll athletics because I'm sitting down?
I'm flexing this whole time. I'm blasting my quads. You can't tell that I'm blasting them, but they're getting blasted. Trust me.
Mag has just been doing a squat this whole time.
Yeah.
Robin, what did you get?
30.
Yeah.
30? Is that our highest initiative yet? That feels like our highest initiative
I can't think of a higher one.
Feels
I
pretty
like
good.
level 4.
Yeah.
You guys, speaking of I love level 4, I have 72 hit points now.
Oh my God.
Okay, David, 72 hit points himself. What did you roll for initiative?
72, I assume.
Yeah, that's how I understand it.
I don't think that's how it
Let's
works, David.
see. It was a 13 on the die for a 72. No, it's a 21.
Okay. Also very quick. Zoe, what did you get?
I did not do so well as Robin. I did get a 28, though.
Oh,
It was
ow!
Pretty
Okay.
impressive. Yeah.
And this is the deception initiative. So that lie that you told Chandriu that threw her into a frenzy was so persuasive that you're going just about before everybody else. And Armet, what did you roll for initiative?
Well, I thought I was doing pretty good with an 18 on the die, but I got a 26. So Norman
Oh my
and Trill have hopped on the combat train right away.
Chandriu, this ghostly scriptorium director, rolled a 2 on the die for a 19, meaning that she is going after everybody.
Yoinks.
Yoinks, indeed. Augriel rolled a 5 for a 13. He's going to go last. Here we go. It is the beginning of round 1. You're in this tight chamber filled with rows of chairs and desks where scribes would have spent hours and hours every day transferring the contents of one book into another. You're all kind of crowded into this area with this ghostly form of Chandriu and Vizar towards the eastern side of the room. Trill is starting her turn right next to this ghostly figure. And there's something I want to tell you before your turn starts, Robin. She is, because of the intensity of this lie that Norman told her, she is slowed 1.
Okay.
She has 1 fewer action per turn because her grief about Volek Azrene's love seems to be tearing her apart emotionally, but also potentially dragging her out of this material plane.
Volek, you're tearing me apart, Volek.
Trill, what's up?
This seems like a good opportunity for Trill to maybe use a spell that she's just mastered.
Her brand new spell? this tease that we just did 7 minutes ago is going to get paid off right now?
In the readings that she's done and in all of the influence she's gotten from these necromantic spellcasters, Trill's started to pick up a couple different occult spells that she didn't think she'd ever come across. But she's starting to try and find a usage for them for the light. Trill calls forth a ghostly lantern.
Oh. A ghostly lantern, you say?
And this lantern happens to be a Reaper's lantern. And the purpose of this Reaper's lantern is to call Chandriu into the afterlife.
Oh.
Nice.
So I feel like this is all something, through her time with Vadim, she started to see the purpose in this,
Love
in
it.
helping the undead move on to the afterlife. She's learning from her friends. So this is going to mean that Chandriu is going to need to do a fortitude save.
And she rolled a 15 on her save.
Jeez, my spellcasting DC is 20 now. Jesus. Ah.
Woo.
So she fails the fortitude. She becomes enfeebled 1.
So she is now enfeebled, and she's going to be enfeebled as long as she is within the glow of this lantern that you've just manifested with your magic.
And then for her next action, she's going to give everyone else a little boost. So let's go
Boosty
ahead
boost.
and do that lingering composition. And that's a 29.
And because you're doing that, playing your beautiful maestro's lute, that is a critical success. The magic of that special instrument pushes that to a critical success.
And so that is 4 rounds for everyone of Inspire Courage.
Thank you, Trill.
Go Trill.
And that's Trill's turn.
That's a hell of a turn.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling good again. I'm in the scriptorium.
And she shouts to Augriel, Augriel, stay away from this light! Just to make sure that he knows.
Yeah, I was definitely going to try to do that, please.
There's one thing you can trust Augriel to do. It's stay away from light.
As he hears this inspiring music wash over him, it is now Norman's turn.
And Norman is feeling feisty. I think we haven't really discussed this before, but the little carol in this scriptorium that he's gone into seems to be next to a skeleton. Some sort
Yes,
of
that's...
corpse.
yes,
no.
this is a skeleton that when you came into the room, you saw was clutching something tight to its chest.
Probably not valuable. But we may never know because we may die here. So he
positive.
looks up at her. You know, he's just feeling kind of feisty. He feels kind of annoyed, frankly, that all this effort he put into, like, trying to send her on to the next world peacefully.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, I got bad news for you, Robin. So, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Zoe. Reaper's Lantern, the spell that you just cast, is a death effect, is a death spell. This creature is immune to death effects.
We didn't know that.
No, you did not know that. And so the lantern washes over her with 0 effect.
So we just learned something. And we just also were reminded why you do recall knowledge before using a spell slot, my friends.
Live and learn.
Hey, knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power, Norman. Do that recall knowledge for spending a level 2 spell slot. And can Trill put that light out now that she sees that nothing happened? Or is it an action to put the light out?
You can absolutely busy a hand to make the spell end.
So
No
in
problem.
theory, actually, by playing my instrument, that actually should have put it out. Anyway, if we're following the rules, it probably should have gone out when I played the instrument.
That's fine. The light is out.
God damn it. Waste of a spell slot. Don't.
So, Zoe, where were we?
Well, right. Norman has his flat-footed advantage because he rolled deception, right?
Yes.
First thing he's going to do, having, let's say, learned a lesson from Trill, is do a quick recall knowledge check on this BZ to see what's up with her. Even though I feel like he kind of gets her deal.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a blind occultism or religion, please.
I'm going to do occultism.
So Norman is looking at this ghostly figure, is convinced that she is susceptible to precision damage, the kind of damage that Norman can inflict by using sneak attack.
And also that she's a mitflit.
I knew it.
Always.
They're always mitflits. And then taking advantage of his sneak attack precision damage, he looks up at her and he goes, you know, this was one of his lovers also. And he hurls an arm from the skeleton at her.
So mean.
Insult and injury.
You gotta draw. Nice. Yeah, you just rolled a 20 on the die with your
love that.
magical attack, which means that I'm going to draw a card from the fabled critical hit deck.
Nice.
Love to see it.
This spell, this card that you just drew, Hoarder's Wrath, triple damage to dragons.
Wait. She's not a dragon.
And what if they aren't a dragon?
Then it's a
Break
double
my heart.
damage. It's exactly the same as it would have been no matter what.
Okay. Well, I can live with that. At least it's not single damage if not dragons. That would have felt upsetting. What did that? I have a lot of question marks and then 2. What does it add up to, Lars?
That added up to 12.
Oh, boo.
Doubled is 24, but you get the impression that the precision damage that you're dealing does nothing to this ghost whatsoever. It seems like the precision damage idea that you had was false.
Wait, but what about I should have gotten two facts then. Dubious knowledge should have given me 2 things.
You critically failed. You rolled a 1 on the die.
I feel like I still get dubious knowledge.
Yeah, dubious knowledge. I thought the crit fail was a real thing and a wrong thing.
Dubious knowledge is if you fail, but not with a 1. If it's above a 1.
If you fail but don't critically fail a recall knowledge check with dubious knowledge, then you get a true thing and a false thing. So you critically failed, so you only got the false thing.
I see. Well,
Weak.
here we go.
So it's a total of 20 points of damage coming her way, and you get the impression that not all of that is getting through as this skeletal bone washes through her, doing only a small amount of damage. And she responds to you saying, "That was my bone."
Oh, shit. Now this is a new low, right?
Wow. Insult upon insult
I've just
upon
thrown
injury.
someone's own corpse at them.
Right. We've thrown the corpse of a pet at its master, or a master at its pet.
Yeah.
We've thrown a corpse of a sibling at its sibling, but we've yet to throw a corpse of something at itself.
Wow.
And as this ghost screams out towards Norman, Vadim sees that it is his chance to act.
So upon hearing the ghost, Vadim's jaw drops in horror, but he sort of shakes it off quickly and strides to flank with Trill. I didn't have vigilance and
You're
dagger.
copying things into a book, friend.
All right, well, he immediately draws vigilance and rather than jump into a double slice, makes an attack. Which he critically fails.
A fumble card because you fumbled hard.
You know what? I'm going to use a hero point on that. Just because, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And watch, this is yet another one.
No. It'll be at least a 3.
24 to hit. And do I need to make a concealment check?
No, she's not concealed. She's incorporeal, meaning that you do hit, but some of this damage is going to get absorbed.
Cool. But I also have my Blade Ally Disrupting Rune, and because she's undead, I will be doing positive damage.
Nice.
12 damage.
So that's 8 slashing damage, and you get the impression that a very small amount of that is going through, and then 4 positive damage as a small bit of this ghost gets whittled away by Vadim's flashing blade. And with that, it is now Mag's turn. Mag, a short 10 feet away from this ghostly figure, what will she do?
All right, Mag will start by raging in place. I guess she's sitting in this little carol thing where she's taking notes. She grabs either side of a wooden armrest in one hand, and her hands just go straight through the wood, just kind of crunches them to splinters. So there's two big round chunks taken out of the armrest now. I don't think I'm going to do much damage, and I don't have a weapon out. So Mag is just going to move next to her, and then is going to attempt to demoralize this ghost. Probably also going to be a little tricky against a smart library ghost, but let's give it a try. So Mag, still holding the shards of splinters, screams in the ghost's face while tossing the splinters up into her eyes. 24 to demoralize.
As you scream in her face, she goes, ah! And floats back, flinches back against the wall for a brief moment, and is now frightened 1.
And that's Mag's turn.
At the beginning of this ghost's turn, she is slowed as she is just sobbing from the realization that Volek maybe isn't everything that she thought that he was. And she is frightened of Mag, meaning that she is going to be less effective across the board. She opens her mouth, throws her head back, and wails in despair at her loss and betrayal. Everyone within 30 feet needs to make a will save to see how they are affected by this despairing cry.
I'm sorry, was this an auditory?
It is an auditory effect.
Oh, so Trill would like to cast counter performance, please.
Oh my God. I didn't even see that coming. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Okay, but you know what? This is what the game is. So, counter performance. You get to roll a performance check to try to overpower her cry. Let's do it.
Yeah. That's a 25.
So that 25, anybody who wants to use that 25 instead of their will save can.
Oh, yes, please.
The Trill will use that 25.
Does anybody not want to use that?
I had a 24, but I'll take the 1 point boost.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'll take the boost over my 14.
Yeah, I will also take it over my 14 as well.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Agriel will take it over whatever horrible thing he rolled, of course. Well, you needed to beat a 23.
Oh!
Meaning
Trill.
that Trill's music blasts out louder than this cry. This wail of is completely covered up by Trill's reactive performance.
I believe that at this moment, in the sadness she's feeling for this poor, pathetic woman, she starts playing some Wuthering Heights.
Oh, the Kate Bush classic?
Yeah.
All right, that's it for her turn. She's slowed. That's all she can do, meaning it is now Agriel's turn. Agriel, you know what he's going to do. He looks around and says, what should I do?
Can he recall knowledge? No, you probably don't want him to.
no. Well.
No. Yeah, you don't want that.
Can ghosts be grabbed or tripped?
They cannot be.
Intimidated?
Intimidated, yes. This one was intimidated, and then at the end of her turn, her frightenedness wore off.
Maybe he can demoralize again?
Agriel, scare her. Tell her mean stuff about Volek.
I don't have that skill. Hold on. And he just runs up next to Norman and says, I'll help you hit her. And he sets up next to her, ready to aid Norman with an attack whenever Norman wants to attack next.
All right.
And that's it for his turn.
Also tell her she's stinky, man.
Oh.
I don't know that she's the one who's stinky in here.
She has no corporeal being.
I haven't had a chance to shower.
Oh, I was thinking it was me.
Oh.
Same.
Because okay.
Yeah.
So here we are at the top of round 2. And basically everyone is crowded around this ghost, penning her into the eastern side of the room. She's still slowed. Mag is raging. Everyone is inspired by Trill's incredible performance. And it is now Trill's turn to go. What will Trill do?
Let's go ahead and do Magic Missile. I'm going to do level 1 at this poor ghost. That is 8 points of damage.
And with Inspire Courage, that is a total of 9 points of damage as the magic missiles thwip into this ghost. As those magic missiles fly through the air, it is now Norman's turn.
Norman's best shot at doing damage she's prone to is daze. Is that right?
The thing you really want to do with a creature that's resistant to stuff like this is crit it.
Oh, I did great the first time, so I'll do it again.
Yeah. So you're on the right track. But yeah, so that's why I figured Augriel coming to set you up with an aid can potentially boost you into a crit. So that's sort of like that's what I was trying to do with him.
Gotcha. Awesome. His first move is going to be to create a distraction to try and gain an advantage on this lady. He takes just the ring finger and the pinky finger from the other hand that he hasn't flung herself at herself.
Oh.
And he kind of hangs him up in the air like a cat toy. And he's like,
dark.
are you going to tickle yourself? You going to tickle yourself? To see if he can distract her with her own fingers.
The team can't like this.
I'll give you a +1 circumstance bonus to that check. I think that seems reasonable.
Yeah, it's the only reasonable thing to do here. So that's a 25 plus 1 is a 26.
Woo!
This bony finger flies through the air, and she seems so distraught, so overwhelmed with emotion that she does not buy the diversion.
Oh, she doesn't buy it. I was going to say it was her ring finger, and she was thinking about how Aspenray could have put a ring on that, but he didn't.
Well,
I didn't even think of that when I
Not
started.
going to happen
guys.
now.
No
It
lie.
would just fall right off and clatter to the ground.
Norman, of course, not realizing that she isn't distracted, thinking this is a perfect plan, hurls her remaining 3 fingers and hand bone at her.
And this is when Augriel leaps into action to try to also attack to give you a benefit. He rolls an 18, doesn't have any impact on your attack whatsoever.
And that's another goddamn 20 on the die. What? I was told to crit her.
You gotta draw. Nice.
The problem is just that no one's ever told me to crit the monster before. If you guys had given me instructions.
Yeah, thanks, Lars.
Yes, this spell crit is called Funny Bone. The target laughs uncontrollably until the end of its next turn. While laughing, it is slowed 1 and can't use reactions. It's already slowed 1, so that's sort of no harm, no foul. It can't use reactions, though. That's potentially good for you, but you still go ahead and roll double damage.
I mean, funny bone? Come on. Given what I've been doing to this thing, that's
I like
fucked
Oh, that's
up.
real good. That's real
Yeah,
good.
it's solid stuff.
You know, I was thinking of taking hideous laughter. That's essentially hideous laughter.
Yeah, pretty much. So she is both crying about, like, he does love me. Things are going real weird for Chandrio and Vizar right now. What did you roll on your TKP, the damage?
That was 15 doubled is 30 points of damage.
Okay, so the precision damage does not affect her, so that is not going to get doubled. Which means that it's 26. She resists some of that, but that's a massive hit against her for sure, as she's starting to look pretty badly injured through all of this. These massive telekinetic projectiles coming from Norman. Vadim, you just saw this bone fly over your head. This ghost in front of you is laughing and crying, which I'm sure there is a song that is about exactly that. I don't know which song it is. Perhaps you do. Armat, what will you have Vadim do on this turn?
So he is going to draw his offhand dagger, and then he is going to double slice.
Love it.
Lars, if you tell us to crit,
Yeah, you just got to give clear instructions.
it seems like good advice because I just rolled a 20 on the strike with vigilance and a 15 on my strike with the dagger.
You gotta draw. Nice. Okay, so this crit card that you just drew is called Severed Spine. The target
What?
must succeed at a fortitude save or be paralyzed until healed. So she's going to roll a fortitude save against your class DC, okay? She rolls a 23.
And Vadim's class DC is just a 20, so she succeeds.
Okay. But you still do get to roll your double damage. The strike from Vigilance critically hit. The strike from your knife missed.
Figured, yeah. Cool. 32 damage, including the positive damage.
Okay, so that's 12 positive damage. All of that entirely gets through. And that is 20 physical damage. Not all of that gets through, but enough of it gets through for you to see her become calm suddenly as you, visually looking at her, start to lose track of her image in front of you. It requires more and more focus as each moment passes to keep her in your sight. And as she's fading away after this brutal strike, she says, I need to accept facts. Volek loved Belcora, not me. Look how I cling to his portrait. And as she's fading away, she floats through Norman towards the skeleton on the floor.
The portrait. We can hurt him with the portrait. We found that out about him, right? That he hates images of himself. And if you damage the image of him, it damages him, right?
I remember there was a portrait of him that was all torn up upstairs.
Well, yeah, right.
So is there a portrait down here? Are we seeing a portrait somewhere?
I think that's what the skeleton's holding. Her skeleton is holding a portrait of him.
Oh, of course. And she must have torn it down to help protect him or something.
Well, that's not going to work if all her fingers have been removed from herself.
I can let it go now. I can let all of this go. As she fades fully away from sight, and you find yourselves now just standing in this silent scriptorium.
Sounds like she left us some goodies, Norman says, and he swoops down towards the skeleton and, of course, puts his hand straight in its mouth to see what teeth are in there.
She definitely still has all teeth remaining. I want to, before we move on anymore, I want to give Vadim
Hero point.
for showing up with the positive damage, for being prepared, and for rolling a 20 on the die that didn't sever anybody's spine.
Well, thank you.
As Norman's digging around in the skeleton's skull, Trill goes over to see what's in the skeleton's hands.
Trill steps over towards the remains of Chandrio and takes a very close look and discovers 3 interesting things on this skeleton as Norman is able to remove the teeth from her jaw.
There's usual drow teeth, I imagine, right?
Yeah.
I think Vadim might want to step in, given that this was a humanoid, and that's like a whole different bag of beans for him, I think.
That's what the
Oh,
kids
you want
say.
a bag of beans, Norman says, and he pulls a mysterious bag with a bean emblem on it at Vadim. He's like, here, look at these.
Not shocking that Norman has a bag of beans.
Yeah.
He's full of beans, that one. But I think Vadim would like to put his hand on Norman's before he can sort of start extracting teeth and just be like, Norman, please. This woman suffered immensely in both life and afterwards. It seems a further cruelty to do more damage to her now that she has found at least some form of peace. I don't want to interfere with your choices and your life, but the teeth, why? What draws you to them? Perhaps if I can understand, we might be able to find an accommodation between the two of us.
Well, it's just that, I mean, she's gone, right? You know, we all saw her leave, but these are they're still here. And they'll be here forever. We could go away and 100 more adventurers could come and go, and maybe even her skeleton would dissolve, but her teeth would still be here. Like, you're interested in what's next, and I'm interested in what stays here forever. These will be here forever. They'll be a part of her here forever, and they will have always tasted everything she tasted and been there for every word she said, but it's a part of her that's going to be here no matter what we do. That's cool. Also, this one's pointy, and he takes out a canine and waves it in Vadim's face.
Oh, God, Norman. You know, teeth aren't the only thing that stay around forever. Her soul has passed now into the boneyard where she will go and stand before Pharasma. She will be sent on to whatever judgment her work in life has given her, but her soul does not end. It continues. The body is an incredible organism. But perhaps we might be able to inter a body and provide a memorial in that manner?
Oh, yeah, you can definitely inter the body. That sounds great.
What I mean is intact, Norman.
I mean, she probably lost baby teeth. Does that bother you?
Well,
do drows have baby teeth? They must, right? Those little sharp, pointy teeth, and they fall out when they bite into whatever drows eat. What is that, like raw salmon?
I kind of agree with Norman a little bit here. Like, it's not like he's trying to steal her whole head.
Well,
is that wrong of me to say? Like taking one tooth and looking at that tooth and saying, this tooth is a person, and I'm honoring that person and the life that they led, and this represents someone who was always here, and I can look at this tooth and remember that this was an interaction I had with someone. That's kind of cool, and that's a way to remember that person's soul who has moved on into the next life. And I get what you're saying, Vadim, but I also kind of get what Norman's saying.
I do understand. I agree. Although Vadim, to be clear, is also throwing Trill. You're not helping. Look.
Hey, he's like elbowing her in the rib.
Like, come on.
Trill's standing down at like the base of the skeleton, like still looking around in the hands and like the dress and everything, and just kind of piping up and like, I know I'm not helping. I know, but you know.
Maybe I can help. I agree with Vadim. If someone had taken my teeth out of my head when I had died, I would not be able to bite anyone anymore. And that would be truly sad. Thank you, Vadim.
Oh.
Vadim,
boy.
how do you feel about that?
Real complicated. Don't need to tell you.
I believe with my new staff, I have a spell for that one.
Oh, we're going to talk about your new staff at some point, by the way, Trill.
It's big and it clanks and it's got skulls on it. I like it.
3 of them. Yeah, that's a lot of skulls. You know, Norman, I do hear what you're saying, and in truth, I understand it, and I understand the impulse to memorialize something that exists forever. Death is in many ways, to the priests of my faith, a sacred thing. When a creature dies, for me at least, it is both personal because it makes me think of my family and the people I have lost. My brother, my mother, my father.
Radu, Norman whispers to himself.
And also doctrine, because I believe that at the end of things, the mark of passing, which is the remainder, the body, becomes a sacred object to all of us, and it is worthy of our respect. I don't know if that resonates with you, but I think it is the best way I can explain it for what it means to me. If you wish to keep that tooth explaining what you have said to me, I will understand it, but I would ask you leave the rest be, please.
Okay, I can do that. Maybe we have a 1 to 15 teeth. Like I won't ever take more than that going forward, right?
Well, I can see we're going to have to keep talking, but
1 to 10 is double digits too high? Was it the 10? All right, 1 to 9. 1 to 9.
Vadim puts his hand in his face.
I promise, man. I hear you. I don't know that we see this the same way, but I don't do it out of disrespect. And I know we see this differently, but someday you're gonna realize these teeth are capable of something pretty cool. And then Norman sort of like flourishes his cape ineptly, just like as if to prove his point.
I love that Norman is like, I picture the build of Norman as like Norman's like a 30-something-year-old guy, right? Like the build of him.
Yeah, he's
like
he's an
late
adult,
20s,
like late 20s,
early 30s.
yeah.
But the attitude and the cape and everything, there's just something so immature and
he's like, yeah, he
about
doesn't
the way
quite
he like
wield it
throws
right,
himself
for sure.
around, and I love it.
Really hard to take him seriously. I'm imagining Vadim is really having some trouble in this moment.
Yeah, Norman is flourishing his cape, and there's like props falling out of it. There's like a plastic.
Right. A pirate hat has gone on the ground.
Well, as this conversation is concluding, and Mag steps forward and lays a hand on Vadim's shoulder. Vadim, I can see with these remains, as with others that we've encountered, how much pain it gives you when a soul is kept from its path, and how much solace there is in the remains being laid to rest. We could, and she holds up the bag of holding, we could convey these remains back to the surface and give them a proper burial if it would bring some relief.
Thank you, Mag. That would be... Yes, please. I would like to bury them myself, if I can.
Are there strictures or guidelines as to how I gather them or store them away? I'm imagining things might get a little jumbled.
I think as long as we do so respectfully and with great care to not lose any of the pieces other than the ones Norman has already played with.
Made use of.
Oh, they're right there. They didn't go far.
Thank you, Norman.
Here, I'll help.
Yes.
I'll help clean them up. And he sets about like tidying them in an effort to make amends.
Augriel pulls one of them out of his mouth.
I come between his teeth.
Good doggy.
Mag holds a hand silently forward to Augriel.
And he does like the shamed spitting out a thing slowly, just
like a dog when you catch your dog
Exactly.
eating something there. So Mag takes that first bone, puts it into the bag of holding, and then very gently kneels to the ground and begins very ginger, almost comedically ginger, like very aware of how clumsy she can be. She's sort of gently trying to tuck them away, and incidentally trying to find a corner of the bag of holding that maybe won't be, so to speak, touching anything else.
Do we have packing cubes?
Yeah, is
for
there
the
a
bag of
plastic
holding?
insert?
I think one of the things Vadim maybe does is empty out his backpack, his adventurer's pack, into the bag of holding, so that's all loose, and then they can put the bones into his pack so they remain together.
So as Vadim starts transferring these remains into his backpack to bring them to the surface and give them a respectful burial, Trill is able to find a number of interesting items here on the remains of the former director of the scriptorium. One thing that she finds is a very nice-looking chain shirt.
Oh.
It's like chainmail.
Yes, like a chainmail shirt. And she also finds a framed picture of a beautiful, arrogant-looking drow man.
Could it be, Master Volek Azrene?
It must be Azrene as his jealous lover, or I suppose non-lover, as she indicated.
Lars, I believe you said there were 3 things that Trill found.
Yes. And Trill manages to spot, just as she's about done searching the skeleton, she finds a tiny iron key.
Yes! Is there a symbol on that key that's going to really match a keyhole somewhere?
Like perhaps a lion's mane mushroom.
It's the key to Philoric's house. Oh no.
Weird.
He's behind all of this. There's not a clear label on this key. It is a tiny, 2 centimeters long, tiny key.
Ooh, for a tiny lockbox, perhaps. Well, let's stick the tiny key in the tiny gnome's tiny pocket.
Okay, so Trill pockets the tiny key. There's this chain shirt.
Yeah, can we identify that?
Yeah, let's
Sure.
identify this chain shirt.
So anybody who wants to try to identify this can do one of the 4 main magic skill checks that I just posted to chat.
Mag will leave that to others.
Norman does an occultism check.
Norman does an occultism check immediately, without any difficulty, recognizes this as a +1 chain shirt. This is a chain shirt that has a +1 potency rune on it, meaning that anybody who wears it will get a boost to their armor class. Just so you know, chain shirts are medium armor, which means that the only 2 of you who are trained to use this are Mag and Vadim.
It's gonna mess up my costumes.
Yeah.
You guys, it'll make you
This is a
stronger.
little too heavy for me to wear.
Trill offers it up.
Mag will reach out for it and check its size to ensure it will fit on her truly almost upsettingly large frame.
And what would you like to do with this framed portrait of this beautiful drow man?
Let's go ahead and investigate this thing.
Yeah.
Is there something magical about it? Can Trill detect any magic? Can she read aura
Doesn't
on
seem
it?
like there's any magic on it. It just seems like it is a very well done depiction of a gentleman that you have not seen any pictures of anywhere else.
Oh, so it doesn't match the
Well,
Azanray
we
picture
didn't
that
see
saw
a picture of
upstairs.
him, remember?
It
It
was
was torn
defaced.
Oh, it
up.
was defaced. Gotcha.
There may be some wisdom simply in destroying this. If it's as we have been told by Borbo, if it's true that depictions of Azrene can make him weaker, perhaps we may wish to keep this in case we confront him.
I agree. You never know what's like this can be useful. Into the bag of holding with it.
And Mag tucks it into the bag of holding inside a different climate-safe sub-container.
The other things that you find in this room as you're looking through it, you see those 3 books that Volek had written to try to get a copy of all 3 of these books: What the Worm Knows, Grave Feasts, and Secrets of the Skull. And just to recap, What the Worm Knows is a incomprehensible study of worm consciousness and hive minds. Grave Feasts is another book about worms, but specifically about worms that eat the dead. And if you were to take a look at Secrets of the Skull, you would find that it is a straightforward book about necromancy with several chilling descriptions about how magic can be used to transcend death.
Can I take a closer look at that one?
Sure. Trill takes a look at it. It doesn't seem as quirky as the other 2. This is just sort of a standard necromancy textbook. It's gross and it's bad, but it doesn't have the sort of like left of center whimsy of these tomes about worms and the consciousnesses of worms.
Can Trill take the weight of it to carry it?
Sure.
Yeah, Trill's gonna take that book.
Interesting. And you also in this room find one of the books on Morlabint's list of books of interest.
Ooh.
Mag will grab that one and put it in the bag of holding.
So here you are standing in this scriptorium after some time to talk and recover treasure from the room. Where would you like to go next?
There was a door in here that I came across when I was looking at the books before. Well, I guess not stepped out. I guess it was really more like she floated out. But should we look at that secret door?
So Trill steps over towards where she found the secret door that Chandriu floated through midway through her conversation with you. And it opens up into a short hallway that then opens up into a small workroom that has a table in it covered with blank scrolls and papers. To the north, you see a cabinet with several closed drawers. It seems as though this was potentially a room where Chandriu transcribed books herself that were not to be trusted with the scribes that worked in her organization.
Look and see if there's a cabinet or anything in here that could use her tiny key. Maybe, because this was from her pocket, so maybe there's a tiny secret drawer somewhere in here that this key worked for.
Yeah, or anything shiny, and Norman's just like pulling drawers open in the bureau to see if there's anything valuable.
So Norman goes to the drawers on the cabinet, and ka-chunk, ka-chunk, they're locked.
Oh, I think maybe I found it, Trill. Why don't you try this?
Trill comes over with the key to see if there's a keyhole anywhere that fits the key she has.
You, in fact, do find a small keyhole that looks like it perfectly fits these drawers on this cabinet.
I love when that works.
Trill opens the first of these drawers and finds, among other papers, one of the books on Morlabint's list.
Yeah, we're just hitting gold today, guys.
Mag puts it in the bag of holding.
She opens the second drawer, the key slips in, unlocks the second drawer, and you find another of Morlabint's books.
Mag
Add
puts
it
it in
to
the bag of holding.
bag of holding.
We're going to be to my hand wraps in no time, says Norman quietly to himself.
And you open the third drawer, and this drawer is entirely empty, except for a single sheet of paper.
Trill picks up the paper and starts reading it.
Trill gets the paper into her hand, and the first thing that she notices is that the text on it is written in blood.
Oh!
Oh?
And the second thing that she notices is that she can't read any of the text because it is written in a language that she recognizes as infernal, which is the language spoken by the devils that live in hell. And we will pick up from there next time.
Oh, here, I'll read that.
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.